What's up, everybody? It's CMP with Craftmaster Productions and ProducerCourses.com. Don't forget to stop by ProducerCourses.com. Pick up your premium membership. It's 50 cents a day. Also, don't forget to stop by CMP Kits. Get yourself some tools for producers. All of the drums inside this tutorial come from the Industry Slap Volume 1 kit available on Producer Courses right now. Today we're going to be getting into how to get that super loud, super clear, not distorted 8 Luff master. Let's get into a sound example right now. All right, so here's the chain. It's super loud. It's super upfront. The first thing that I'm doing is I'm mixing into God Particle. Now, here's what you have to do. If you don't understand God Particle, if you have God Particle, if you're still trying to figure out God Particle, you have one or two options. You could sign up for Producer Courses and watch the video where I show exactly how to use this, or you can watch Jason Joshua's 1-hour Instagram video where he's talking about how to use it. I just broke it down into a 5-minute thing so that everybody can have it, right? Basically, if what God Particle is, and what a lot of people glaze over, but what Jason Joshua makes sure to let everybody know is this is a mixing cheat sheet. This is a template for how to set your levels, right? And if you set your levels correctly in God Particle, the result of that is when you go to do your mastering chain, everything's going to be gain staged correctly so that you can use these plugins and they'll give you the result that you want every single time, by mixing into this plugin. And this is why this can be a preset now. So we go from the God Particle into the Shadow Hills compressor. The Shadow Hills compressor has 2 compressors on it. It's got this optical compressor and it's got this discrete compressor. Now, the settings on the optical compressor is it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you don't have this compressor, right, you can go into a stock compressor, and I basically just remade my settings for the Shadow Hills compressor and put them onto Studio One stock compressors. And all you got to do is just go and screenshot these 2, right? This is the first one and this is the second. And if you use these, it sounds exactly the same, right? So here is it without these compressors running. So you're not losing anything in the compression, you're not losing anything in the fidelity. The only difference between using the 2 stock ones and using the Shadow Hills is going to be like this little transformer circuit, but it's fine. You don't need to run out and buy a $200 plugin to use this chain. Once we go through the Shadow Hills, right, and all we're doing is we're just trying to compress 1 dB. That's it, 1 dB. Then we go into our G-Bus compressor, and we're using, the good old mix bus preset where we're just doing a super fast release, super slow attack, 4-to-1 ratio, and we're just compressing it a little bit, in between the 0 and the 4. This part you can do if you can't hear compression, you don't have to worry about it. If you follow these numbers, you're going to get a repeatable result every single time if you're making 808 based music. That's what's really important. If this is an 808 mix, this is going to work for you, right? What's going on? Why are we using so many compressors? Why the Shadow Hills compressor? The thing is, when you're mixing and mastering, an instrumental and you want to get it super loud, the way that you're going to get that done is you're going to use clipping to get rid of all of your transients. Well, not get rid of all your transients, but you're going to use them to shave off the top of your transients. So that way, when you feed that signal into the limiter can bring up the overall average volume, the RMS, so that your perceived loudness is just off the charts and you get this super loud, super forward mix, right? The problem is if I wasn't to have these two compressors and I just use standard clip to shave off those peaks, the result from standard clip is like some artifacts and some distortion, right? So you'll see a lot of methods where people are just using standard clip and a limiter. It'll be really loud, but it'll sound really distorted, right? The basic rule about this is the more dBs that you're compressing, the more of the bad side of the compressor that you're using has a chance to come out. Then it's not necessarily going to happen every time, but you're leaving the door open for that. So by doing this type of tone shaping where we're taking 1 dB off of one compressor, 1 dB off of another compressor, 2 dBs off of a third compressor, that's 4 dBs of compression. And when you listen to it, not only does this method make your drums sound more punchy before you go into clipping them, it's more transparent. You're not really noticing that you have a lot of compression up to this point. So by the time you get to standard clip, instead of having, because when I'm using standard clip, I'm only compressing down. I set my scale to 3 dB. It's normally set to 9. So you want to set it to 3 dB and you just want to watch this, turn down this clip function until you get to like -1, -2, right? So overall, we're looking at 4 dBs of compression here, 6 dBs of compression here, but it doesn't sound like we're clipping at 6 dBs. You don't get that distortion. You don't get that, that quick ducking feeling, which makes your music appear to sound more dynamic, even though it's super squashed. And once you have this going, you're free to now go into this limiter, just squash it. All right, and just for reference, I want to show you what this would sound like if I just tried to do this with L2, right? If I took away clipping and the compressor and I tried to get, 8 LUFs out. First of all, in order to even get there, I've got to push this twice as much. I'm almost doing 12, 12 dBs of gain just to get this down to where I was. And now when you listen to the limiter, you can really hear the effects of the limiter. And that's when you do this is how you can tell, hey, I just started using a limiter. Check me out. Whereas again, if we go back and we bring these guys into the picture now, and the other advantage of taking care and using, this is called serial compression, to get this level of loudness, is now you'll be able to hear if you have different limiter plugins, you'll be able to hear the difference between what a stock limiter does to a signal, what Pro L does to a signal, what the different modes of oversampling does to a signal. You'll be able, and that way you can look at your plugins, and it's like you got a whole brand new set of plugins because you understand now, like, oh wow, hold on, let me go through modern, punchy, transparent. Let me see which is the best for this situation, because you're not pushing your limiter so hard that all you're hearing is the distortion. So if you guys like this tutorial, consider signing up for producer courses. Join the Discord. We talk about this kind of stuff all day. It's a 100% user content driven site, which means whatever you guys are asking me about, whatever is on your mind, we will cover. We'll cover it in depth. This particular method comes from a mastering engineer, pro mastering engineer, who also does packs on the site, Money Mikes. He was nice enough to help us out and give us this mastering chain after he seen me doing 6 dBs of clipping with standard clip, and he was like, hey man, we can make that sound way better. So that's the type of community you have to look forward to joining when you get with producercourses.com. I want you guys to keep it simple, but do not be basic. Pick up the industry slap kit from CMP Kits, and we will see you on the next one.